Welcome back to the Caribou Data Science channel. It is the evening of November 16th, 2020. I'm doing something a little different. I'm actually going to run all my daily reports as one video. Then I'm going to try to come in and actually add a menu to them for the location of the various sections. So, so let's begin with the U.S. I'm going to do U.S., Ohio, Pakistan, Israel, and then Spain in that order. So first of all, let's just take a look here at the U.S. numbers. Okay, so there we go. So we're currently averaging 36,667 cases per day, and 936 deaths per day, with the overall mortality rate of 3.1%. Let's take a look at this 3.1. I'm not sure where this came from, honestly. Okay, because I thought there was no cases, no deaths prior to this number back here. So that's really kind of odd. Okay. So this is the 3.1% line right here, the national average. Look at all these dates, even with the current spike in deaths, look at this mortality rate here, right? Now, if you look at cases, now this spike is a concern, but it's only a concern as it relates to deaths, okay? Now, the question is this, the deaths we're seeing now, where are they coming from? From here or from here? Now, if you take a look at this, you see, yes, there is definitely a spike up, but the trend line is showing down about here. Okay, so you can see you got the spike here. Now, I want you to note that this is the European Center's data, European Center for Disease Prevention and Control's data. And if we were to look at, say, John Hopkins numbers or New York Times number, they don't have this big spike up here. They have this number right about down in here. So this is a question of what this is here. How come it's not included in other systems? But you can see here, yeah, this is above that. That's not good. The spike is coming up here, but it is a spike, and it is going up and down, up and down, up and down. So the average number of deaths is about, well, no, this means, as of the 12th, as of the 15th, there was about 1,200 deaths or something like that, maybe. We can zoom in. The gray line represents the 17 to 21 day mortality or 17 to 21 incubation period between infection and death. This means we should be seeing these deaths right here. Okay, but where does this come from here? Now you can see here, this is 1,000, 1,500, so this must be about 1,250 here. So this means we had about 1,250 deaths yesterday on average. But see, we got this volatility there. Now, if we look at cases per week, this is the average number of cases per week. Okay, so here we go. You can see we had this continuous climb up in cases. Okay. Now, if we zoom in on deaths, you can see deaths are up, but look at all these weeks when the deaths were below average. Okay, this isn't good. This is 5,000, 10,000. So this is about 7,500 deaths last week. Okay. Okay, so you can see here on the monthly basis, look at this. November's cases have already passed October's cases and July's cases. Now, if you look here, there is a tendency of a downturn here. It hasn't come back up to here yet. The deaths for the month haven't come back up to here yet. Do you have any come back up to here or up to here yet? So we'd have to wait a little bit and see exactly what's going on with these deaths. Okay, in the U.S. So now that takes care of the report for the U.S. Next, we'll go back to the. We'll update this here. Is up to date with the master. Changes cannot be committed. There we go. So that takes care of the numbers for the U.S. Next, we'll take a look at the. Now let's take a look at Ohio. As you know, Ohio is the Buckeye State and the home of the Ohio State University, and also it's. Okay, so now let's take a look at the numbers for Ohio, state of Ohio. Ohio has definitely been struggling, although deaths have remained really low, I think. So currently, Ohio is averaging 1,187 cases per day, but only 23 deaths per day. Now, here you can see this is no surprise because cases are spiking up worldwide. Okay, deaths. Okay, deaths are climbing back up, but you can see here it's averaging about 25 because you got a lot of volatility here. Okay, that's really the issue here. You got all this volatility, and you wonder is this really the numbers for one day, or is this the numbers for maybe 2 days, or something like that? So you can see that it is climbing back up. It hasn't reached this number here by a long shot. It hasn't reached this number either. It's very close to this though. Okay, so we're still under 50 deaths per day. Okay. Now, if we look at the weekly case, you can see here that let's just do something. Let's just get rid of. Let's get rid of all these. Okay, here we go. Let's run this one more time. Okay, so here you can see the climb up in cases in Ohio. Massive spike here. But this decline reflects the first part of the week. Now, if we look at deaths, it's a little more interesting. It certainly is well below these weekly numbers up here. It declined here, came back up, dipped, declined again. Now it's climbing up again. Okay, but these numbers are below these numbers, this number, and these numbers over here. Okay, that's what I want you to notice. This is monthly cases for the state of Ohio. Once again, you can see the last 3 months, the last 2 months have not been good. November's cases have already passed October cases for the state of Ohio. And but deaths are remaining low. Last month's deaths were below these numbers here, but it looks like November's death will certainly pass at the least October's. Now this is the 5 counties with the most cases during the last 7 days. No surprise, Cuyahoga, Franklin, Hamilton, Montgomery, and Summit County. But yet during the last 7 days, apparently only one county, Cuyahoga, had deaths, and they had something like 7 deaths in the last 7 days. Now, if we take a look at Franklin County, where the state capital, Columbus, is located, you can see this. It's pretty much actually following the national trend with the 2 spikes. Now, a long climb up here above 800 for a single day. If you look down here, Franklin County actually had a very long downward run here, up until here. So it remains to be seen exactly what is going to happen here. How much further this is going to be trending upwards. Okay. So overall, Ohio is still struggling, like most of the states in the U.S. are struggling with their COVID-19 to control COVID-19. So now I'll take care of the report for. That takes care of Ohio. Okay, that takes care of the state of Ohio. So let's move back up. Let's move back up to the top and take a look at Spain. Spain has certainly been struggling the last few weeks. They've tried limited shutdowns. You tried shutting down the bars and restaurants at 10 or 11 p.m. at night and keeping them closed all night. I know when I was in Spain, there were people out all times of the night. The later the night, the more people were out. I mean, the kids, the young people out standing in front of the bars in the streets, drinking and having fun. I mean, this has to be a shock to their system not to be able to party hardy in Israel or in Spain anymore. So let's take a look at Spain's numbers here really quick, okay? Four thousand five hundred forty-three cases in Spain today, 127 deaths. We take a look at the mortality rate. Mortality rate is under 1%, but you can see the trouble is as opposed to the U.S. number, their numbers are above. Now, it should be noted that these are Monday numbers, I believe, or this could reflect Monday numbers, all right? Because Spain, for some reason, doesn't actually take Saturday and Sunday's COVID-19 numbers and adds them onto Monday. So, nonetheless, you can still see here, the still trend is well above the daily average for mortality rates. Cases and deaths. Let's see something here. Let's zoom in here. Now, cases, 26,785. Okay, cases per day. You can take a look here. Deaths, 404 per day here. But nonetheless, there's continued climb up in both these numbers. So this is a good. This just shows us what we already know. The little dip followed by a spike up in cases and deaths. Okay, let's see. So now we look at the cases by week, and many times a weekly number's better, particularly for Spain, because this will include the Sunday day and the Saturday day the following week, because that's what this does. This is not, you can see this huge spike here for cases in Spain, despite some measures. Deaths, well, okay, yeah, there's what, this is 2,000, 3,000 deaths last week. And we'll probably catch 3,000 deaths this week. But up to this point, it's really been, you know, not all that bad. Okay? There's this long series of increases in monthly cases. And unfortunately, November probably will catch October's cases. Deaths, you can see, had a huge spike back in April, but actually fell below 5,000 up until this month. And unfortunately, I'm afraid Spain's deaths will pass 5,000 for the month. So Spain has definitely continued to struggle. Uh, and unfortunately, but this takes care of the report for Spain. So that takes care of Spain. So now let's move on to Israel. Israel has actually been doing pretty good. Uh, we certainly saw a continuing decrease in deaths. See how cases look? I think now let's take a look at Israel's numbers for November 15th, 16th. Okay, so here we go. Current 1,016 cases per day on average, but only 8 to 9 deaths per day. If we look at the mortality rate, you can see this could be good news. The mortality rate does seem to be trending back down towards the average here. If this is 1, this is 2, this is 1, this may 1.25%. So there's a good chance that this that the mortality rate will fall back down below the average. Take a look at cases. You can see he had some spikes here, but now this comes down. A long period of decline, 4 to 6 week decline, now it appears to be leveling off, while deaths continue to fall on average. Okay. Again, you got lots of volatility, so it's hard to tell exactly what days these really are. Okay, so here we go. These are cases, zooming in on cases to July. And once again, a huge spike up here and a long period of decline. Same way with deaths. So this, so basically speaking, Israel is looking very good right now. Very good. All right. But because you can see here the declining cases by week. Okay. And deaths, well, 1, 2, 3. For 3 straight weeks in a row, the deaths have been below this highest point here. Okay. Uh, Monthly cases, you can see October was less than September. And there's a good chance that November's deaths will be below October's deaths. Right? You can see here four straight months increase in deaths, but there's a good chance that November's deaths will certainly not catch this, and it may not even catch one of these two numbers right here. So overall, Israel has continued to do a very good job in keeping this under control. Very good job. So this concludes the numbers for Israel. We should be moving on to Pakistan next, I believe. Of course, we can skip Ohio. We already did Ohio. So here we are in Pakistan. Pakistan had a really good run of about 2 or 3 months of very low cases, very low cases and deaths. But then recently they've been trending back upward again. Let's take a look at the number for Pakistan. Now. 1,132 cases per day in Pakistan, 23 deaths per day in Pakistan. Now, if you look at the cases by death, you had this huge long decline and a really low period when the cases were below 1,000 per day. But now they're starting to climb back up. And this is obviously a concern, okay, because it would appear that, you know, maybe this is about halfway between, this and this. Okay, so this is a problem. Hopefully this is just a speed bump, if you will, an anomaly. Hopefully these numbers are not a real trend, but just a minor, maybe a backlog of previous cases or something like that. Deaths, deaths are declining upwards. Below of less than 25, up above 25 deaths per day. So this isn't particularly good again, but hopefully this is not a real major trend upwards. Maybe it's just an anomaly, it's a brief, I could call it a speed bump for some reason, or in the stock market, you may call it a correction. Okay? Now, we can zoom in, see the same thing here. Look at this long period of decline up until here. Okay? And deaths. So you can see cases in Pakistan began to increase in October. These are weekly cases. Weekly deaths, you can see the other very good run here of under 125 deaths per week up until this last 2 weeks. Now it's climbed above those two numbers. Monthly cases, well, it's already passed October's cases with about 2 weeks to go. So therefore, we got to wait and see what happens there. Uh, November deaths have already passed October deaths, so this isn't good. But hopefully this is not a long-term trend, but just a trend for the next few days or a couple of weeks before it resumes its final decline. Okay, so this takes care of Pakistan's numbers for today. Let's see what kind of bonus coverage I can give you here just for the fun of it. Let's see. Let's let's see. Okay. You know what? Let's just check. Let's just go and check France for the fun of it. Let's take a look at this France here. I obviously don't remember what it was the last time I saw it, but let's just see what we got here. These numbers will be coming from the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control. Let's just take a look here and see exactly what's going on in France. Okay, so what you can see here, France had a very long period of minimal cases. The cases are now up to about, that's 5,000 per day. Well, I'm not quite sure. These almost look like another of those times where they don't report numbers daily on the weekend. But you can see that if this is 5,000, 50,000, say 30,000 here, cases, deaths are increasing a little bit. Let's take a look here. So this is average cases per week. You can see there's this huge spike up in cases. You can see we had 3 straight weeks of increasing deaths, COVID-19 deaths in Spain. By month, 3 weeks of increase, 3 months increase in cases. And we almost caught cases in France for November. Deaths, 4 straight months increase in deaths, with 2 weeks to go in November. Cumulative deaths, interesting. You had a long flattened part here. Then for some reason, cases were just starting spiking up dramatically. Deaths came up here, very steep increase in deaths. Then it flattened off. Now there's another spike going on. So what's the news for France? Well, okay, let's take a second look at it. Deaths are increasing, and that is the big concern. It almost appears cases are starting to decline. Okay, so here we go. So this takes care of France. France is a mixed bag. Cases appear to be declining, while deaths are increasing. So anyway, thanks so much for your time today. This concludes my daily reports for today. Uh, if you know someone is from, is either from in the U.S. or the state of Ohio or okay. So this does conclude the daily reports total for today. We'll catch you later on this afternoon.